That's fine. No issues at all. So by end of the session, students can post this queries into this Telegram group. I will quickly go through that and I will address those.
I will
questions.
ask madam to coordinate that.
Yes, no issues.
And faculties and other students, those are already there, they can post, but other guests are not able to do that.
That's fine. Yes, sir. No issues.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I asked madam to join. She is not yet. I am not able to see her.
Yes.
Okay, madam. Yes.
So I'll wait for her.
Okay.
No, yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. You are muted, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
Good.
You joined early.
That's fine.
Just a minute, ma'am. I'll ask whether we should start.
Good afternoon, Akshita, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Shanti, madam? Shanti, ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll start, ma'am. So, very good afternoon to honorable dignitaries, faculty members, student participants, and everyone present here. I, Ms. Vishakha Mekre, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Engineering from D.Y.Patil College of Engineering, Akudi, Pune. Once again, welcome you all to second session of the day under 3 days online workshop on artificial intelligence and data science challenges and applications, which is jointly organized by Dr. D.Y. Patil Pratishthan, D.Y. Patil College of Engineering, Akudi, Pune, and St. Vincent Pallotti College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. Hands-on sessions are the integral part of any workshop to demonstrate concepts to be learned. And our today's afternoon session is also a hands-on session of Python for data science, its libraries, and demonstration by Mrs. Akshita Chanstan, with 10 years of working experience with her technical expertise in Python, C++, Core Java, OpenCV, multi-threading, SQL, etc. Yesterday, Madam has conducted first hands-on sessions and today she will continue further. But before we start today's hands-on session, I would like to announce and instruct all the participants to please mute your audio and video so that we can avoid any further disturbance throughout the session. If you have any query or question, you can ask it into the chat box of the MCs or on the Telegram group. All are requested to follow the protocol for smooth conduction of the session. So now I welcome and hand over the session to Akshita Madam. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vishakha ma'am. It's great pleasure. Yesterday also it was a good experience, and today we will go ahead with the second session where we will be seeing some specific libraries like NumPy and Pandas. So I will be just sharing the screen. Yeah. Is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So let us start with today's session. That is Python for data science, some libraries and demonstrations, right? So there are, as mentioned yesterday, there are different types of libraries available specifically for data science, right? But when we talk about data, the basic things or basic libraries, those are required are NumPy and Pandas, via which we can work on different datas because data can come in any advantage NumPy, and then I will go you the I will directly switch to the Jupyter notebook to show you how actually we can use a NumPy package and what are the different functions, what are the different attributes, how we can create a NumPy, and then and that will be a complete, you can say, a session on Jupyter notebook. At last, what we can do, we will just quickly go through these slides. I have included a few points into this and we will finish this NumPy first, right? So when I'm talking about this NumPy, NumPy is basically a third-party package which is developed using the Python. NumPy stands for numerical Python. It is a powerful n-dimensional array of objects. Now, normally we have something called as array, right? And in case of an array, we were having some limitations. Like it has some limitations, like it basically having some collections of data elements, maybe of same types, and so on. Here also, NumPy is also used for homogeneous collection of items. That means the data elements which are there in NumPy must be of homogeneous collection. But when we go about something called as performing some operation like linear algebra, when we perform some Fourier transformation, when we say I have a huge amount of data where I have to use work with random number capabilities and so on. So in that case, array have that limitations, and that's the reason we go with NumPy package. So NumPy was initially, or you can say olderly, it was called as num array and numeric packages. Then they have replaced these two names and named it as numeric Python, that is NumPy. Some say that is NumPy, some says NumPy. So it is normally English language, maybe some pronunciations may differ in different libraries, right? Now, when I'm using this NumPy, many different modules are being developed like SciPy, Pandas, sklearn, and so on. So you can say this is the base library for all the other libraries. So you can say other libraries are maybe wrapped over this NumPy library, and that's why we can say that pandas, SciPy, sklearn, whenever I'm using these libraries, I will need something called as NumPy library, because I need to work on data, and the data can be in any form. So when we talk about NumPy, it has some, you can say, advantages. It's memory efficient, because when you, in the last class, in the last session, we have seen some Python collections or something called as data structures. We have seen list, we have seen dictionary, we have seen tuples, we have seen set. So those were, when we talk about those collections were also used, but they were having a limitation, like we can have some kind of data storage for them. But when I want to process that data, memory must be effectively and efficiently used, then I will go with NumPy. It gives a better performance than other Python collections. And I hope you all remember that we have seen some Python collections in the last session. We can perform any operations, maybe on matrices, maybe on arrays, and it is free and open source. Only the thing that you have to do is write pip install numpy. So when I'm saying pip install numpy on my command prompt or on the terminal, your numpy package will get automatically installed. You do not have to do anything. So it is free and open source. Only the thing is, whenever we are talking about third-party packages, the thing is you all have to understand what exactly is the use of this library, or what exactly are the different functions, are the different, you can say, parameters that it takes, right? So it is like it is open to all, but how one is using that library is completely based on the developer, or you can say on the programmer. So that is what is about NumPy. Now, when you install NumPy, you can install either by writing pip install NumPy. If you're using Python 3, so you can just write pip3 install NumPy. Both will work fine for you. And this will just install NumPy library on your machine, right? Once it is installed, then we can start working on NumPy. Right now, what I'll do, instead of looking into the slides, we will just quickly go to the Jupyter notebook. Everyone, if you have installed NumPy, have this is my browser. Just a second, it's getting loaded, I think. Yes, so I have created one Jupyter notebook, because when we talk about Jupyter notebook, it is basically an IDE which is used for giving us the accessibility for writing the Python source codes. So Jupyter is one of the you can say famous or you can say one of the most useful for application, or the software you can say, for writing the Python programs. Now, whenever I'm working with NumPy, in that case, before working on NumPy, let me just write L1. Let us say this is my list 1. I hope you remember that whenever I'm writing anything in the square brackets, then that is considered as a list. How do I enter? I'll just hit Control Enter. So this will try to execute this particular code. Let us say again I'm writing L2 over here, and here I'm writing, let us say 40, 50 and 60. This is the second list I'm creating. I'm writing L3 is equal to L1 plus L2. When I say L3 is equal to L1 plus L2, and lastly I'm just telling to my compiler, please print L3 for me. Now if you observe, this is like it is not performing addition of elements within the list. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So this is basically performing something called as concatenation operation. What actually I want to add these elements properly. So here is, you can say, some kind of disadvantages of, you can say, predefined collections, right? Now, when I'm talking about plus operation onto the list, it just tries to concat the lists which are available. After that, let us say now I want to use NumPy library. Whenever I want to use any third-party library, I have to write an import statement. And when we say import, it means I'm trying to use some kind of library and I want this library to be used in my program. It is similar to your hash include statements in C or C++, or it is similar to the import statement as you have used in Java. So here I'll write import numpy. Now every time name to it. Ali's name is basically a nickname given to this library. So NP is the Ali's name given to my numpy. Let me just add a few more cells. Okay. Now I'll say NP is the Ali's name given to my numpy library. Now when I try to hit enter, that means control and enter, and if you click on run, if this code is correct, if your import numpy library is being installed correctly on your machine, then it will just execute that. If your package is not installed, it will give you here only the error that numpy is not installed or this package is not found. So why it is doing so? Because your Python is interpreted language. It tries to convert your source code into your machine code or into your machine code line by line. So I am trying to import numpy as np. Now when I'm saying, let us say I'm writing now a is equal to numpy dot. There is a function called as array. And here I will write 1, 2, 3. So numpy is basically a wrapper over array, and it is basically a list of elements which are stored into an numpy array. Now when I say numpy dot, it is a set of elements where I am defining, let us say 5, 6 and 7. Right? If I try to perform C is equal to A plus B, and if we try to print C now, let us observe the output. It is executing ticket. Numpy is not defined. Yes, I have given a alias name. I should use np.array. Can you see the difference now? When we were using the list, that was just an array of list of elements, but when I try to write a plus operation, so it will just concat your data. But actually if I want to perform addition element by element, in that case I can use numpy array. So numpy array will just basically try to add your elements by element. Can you see the line of code? It is so reduced. अगर यहाँ पे मेरे पास, if I would have C, C++, Java, any other codes, in that case I must have used for loop I equal to 0, I less than a dot length, I plus plus, then again I have used B के लिए another for loop, then fetch one by one element, and then you have to perform addition of this, and then you have to again apply a for loop and then print and so on and so forth. So this here there is no need. So it means np.array is one function, and this function is used to create an array of elements. And here this is the first example how we can create a numpy array, and that is what is your first statement. Now the A is one array, B is another array. I can use plus sign, A plus B will give me the answer as addition of elements. Okay, now let us say I want, so this is what I can say, this is basically a creation of numpy array using which function? Array function. Now, if I would have used here numpy.array, that is also fine. But I have given, for this particular notebook, I have given numpy as a alias name np. That's why everywhere I can go ahead by writing np. Okay, so let us say I'm creating a is equal to one more array. So np.array, bracket mein I can pass 1, 2, 3 and 4. So right now, what are the different ways? I'll do one thing. I will make one heading, and here, right now I'm going to explain you the different ways of creating NumPy arrays. So there are different ways. What are the different ways? This is the first way. What is the first way? That is use the function called as array function. So a is equal to np.array 1, 2, 3, 4, and when I say print a, so it will print array for me. Now in this, let us assume I'm just writing print type of a. Let us execute this code. Can you see the type of array A? Type gives me that what exactly A is. It is giving me, it is a NumPy ND array. ND stands for n-dimensional array, and now this is basically a class which is defined. And what are these elements? These elements are of type integer, and this is basically a NumPy array which I have created, and that's why it is giving me the type of A is equal to ND array. So this is the first way how we can create, you can say, how we can create a NumPy array. Next, let us say I'm writing A1, where I'm writing np.array. Bracket में I'm passing np.arrange 5. Let us try to print A1. np.array, np.arrange and 5. It should arrange the values. Is there any bracket missing? Okay, just a second. First we will create it. A1 is equal to np.array, inside the bracket np.arrange function. This arrange function will try to give me 5 different data. Just a second, we will see over here. Right, np.arrange and np.arrange bracket में 5. There is one bracket missing, I think. Right. There was one bracket missing. So this arrange function will give me some data. That means if I say 0 to 5, 0 to 4. So if in our case, in normal scenario of declaration of an array elements, I used something called as for a equal to 0, a less than 5, a plus plus. Then I used to print array. Here, if I want some sequential data in my array, which is having some range, let us say I'm giving the last value called as 5, automatically it will start from 0 to 4. So this will give me an array which is going to display the data in a sequential way from 0 to 4. Similarly, let us say I'm writing A2 is equal to np.array or np.zeros function. There is one zeros function which is used to set the all elements of an array to 0. Let us print this. Can you see, if I say zeros, it is a predefined function which sets your array as zeros. But what is the need? There might be a scenario if I'm using an NP array, and if I want to assign some 0 values to this array initially only, that means if I want to assign some initial 0 values to all the elements of an array, then I can go ahead with function np.zeros 4. So it will give me 4 elements of all zeros. Similarly, let us create A3. I'm writing np.ones. And let us say I'm writing 5. Here we are trying to print A3. When you try to print this, ones is another function which will create a NumPy array having all the ones in an array. How many ones I want? I want 5 ones in my array. So this is what is my 5 ones. I hope you are trying along with me. Next, when I'm saying A4 and I'm writing np.array, it is ones. I want to create ones array. But here, please listen, I am giving 2, 2. And I am trying to print A4. Let us check. Can you see when I am giving only one single number in maybe zeros or in maybe ones, it is creating a one-dimensional array for me. But when I create ones and zeros by passing 2, 2, it is saying see here it have created, this is my first dimension and this is my second dimension of a numpy array. So by one line of code we are trying to create np.ones as two-dimensional array, right? Next you have one more function. Let us say np.random and I'm saying 3. Now suppose I want to generate 3 random numbers, right, in my program using numpy array. Then जैसे आपको in your different programming languages you have math.rand function, and in that rand function it used to create different random numbers. Here also you can use random.random bracket में 3. What is this random? It is one class. What is this random? It is one, you can say, function declared within this class. So if I just pass 3 is basically will generate 3 different random values for me, right? Now let us make one modification. I'm writing, I request everyone make yourself on mute. Yes. All right. If I write np.random and inside the bracket I'm writing rand int, and here I'm saying 3, 7, size is equal to 2. Hit enter. Now look at this example. Here when I have used random function, it generates automatically some random values. But if I want to mention the range, what is the range? That I want random numbers from 3 to 7, as well as I want only 2 random numbers. In that case, I can use the function randint, where this randint function takes 3 arguments. One is x, another is y, let us say third is z, where x denotes minimum value and y denotes maximum value, and you can say z denotes count of numbers that we wish to print from min or between min and max. This is called as randint function. So randint, random, will generate any random numbers. Randint function will generally try to take some parameters. This will mention how many number of elements I want to print inside my array. Obviously, this is going to give me a numpy array, right? Now, let us say I want to perform copy operation. When I say src is equal to np.array, I'm writing 1, 2, maybe 3, 4. This is my source numpy array. I am creating one destination where I'm just trying to copy the content. Normally, if you have used arrays, if I want to copy the contents of array from one location to one source to destination, we have used again for loop. Can you see here just a single line of code where destination is equal to source? Let us try to print destination. Can you see the output? 1, 2, 3, 4. That means just a single line of code is working for me. I'll add few more cells now after this. Okay. So here this is going to just try to perform copy array or copy the contents from source to destination. Just a single line of code. No need to give semicolon, no need to write format specifiers, no need to write the, you can say, for loop. So in this way, can you see NumPy is a third-party library. When the developers have developed this library, how many number of internal things it is doing automatically. It is using iterator. It is going into the into your array automatically. It is not basically the programmer's efforts have been reduced. Writing of source code, line of code is getting reduced, and that's the reason people are going more towards the Python language. Right now, let us assume I am making source of second memory location is equal to 40. Okay. Now let us just try to print source and let us just try to print destination. Can you see the data into the source and the destination both is same? So what I want to do, what I want to tell over here is it performs a shallow copy concept. What is shallow copy concept? It is basically, it just wherever your source is pointing, where the destination will also point to the same memory location. It will not create an exact replica. It will not perform a deep copy. It will just perform a shallow copy concept. So if I'm making the changes into the source, it will try to change into the destination also. And that's the reason whenever I'm changing the data, I am trying to see that both the contents are being changed. This is called as copying the contents and changing the NumPy values. Let us go to the slides now. So I have given you this, whenever I'm talking about arrays, numerical Python is your NumPy library. If I am creating normal list, if I try to perform plus operation, it basically try to concat the list. But we cannot use directly arithmetic operations, any arithmetic operation. We need some efficient arrays with arithmetic and better multidimensional tools. And that tool is called as NumPy. It is similar to the list but much more capable, and it expects fixed size. That is, it can vary according to the user's requirement. Now, whenever I'm talking about NumPy, the most important object defined in NumPy is n-dimensional array type, जिसको हम बोलते हैं ND array. Then that is nothing but, if you observe here, I have shown you the type of NumPy. Can you see? Is it giving me numpy.nd array? Because this is nothing but one type of an object which is called as n-dimensional object, and it is homogeneous multi-dimensional array created by your NumPy. Now, the one example which I have given you, I have created one array, I have created second array, and I have used plus operation. Automatically, it tries to perform the addition in the index, that is 1 plus 3, 3 plus 5, 5 plus 6, and so on and so forth. Next, when I say I want to create NumPy arrays, there are a couple of mechanisms for creating arrays in NumPy. Maybe you can use list, maybe you can use tuples, or you can create a NumPy by using some built-in NumPy array creation functions like arrange, ones, zeros, etc. Or you can use random, randint, and so on. So in this slide, I've included how you use array function, how we can use arrange function, how we can use zeros and ones function, how we can use random function, how we can use randint function, and copy. The exact examples I have explained with the help on the Jupyter notebook, right? These were called as NumPy functions. So how we can create a NumPy? These are the different functions. But what are the attributes? Attributes, let us see. Let us assume I'm writing A1, one NumPy array, np.array, and here I write 1, 2, 3. This is my NumPy array. Now I want to see the shape of my array. If I say np dot shape bracket में I will pass a1. Can you see it is giving me 3 and comma? What does this mean? Array having 3 elements. Okay, how? Because the shape is one attribute which is available inside your NumPy, and this will tell me how much is my dimension of NumPy array. Let us assume now I'm creating A2 where I'm writing again np.array. I'm creating one two-dimensional array. How do we create two-dimensional array? We are saying this is my first dimension, comma, this is my second dimension, and this is my complete array. So the thing is you have to follow correct brackets, because otherwise यहाँ पे indentation नहीं है, semicolons नहीं है, block of codes नहीं है, opening closing brackets, curly brackets नहीं है. So if everything is not there, how your compiler will understand the start of an array and end of this array? So always your compiler will consider this is the start of this array, this is the end of this array. But when you pass within this will be considered as a first dimension separate. Yeah, so this is basically np.array 1, 2 and 3, 4. So this is called as one array creation. Now I'm writing print bracket में a2. If I hit enter, can you see I am getting the output as 2, 2. What does this indicate? It indicates it is two-dimensional array and having 2 elements in each dimension. This is called as np.shape function. All right. Now let us take one more. I'm writing print np.ndim a2. Can you see ndim? The ndim is an attribute which just tells us how many dimensions are there in NumPy array. So if I just want to know, shape is basically gives me array along with how many number of elements are there in each dimension. And in case of ndim, in this case, it will give me the, you can say, how many dimensions are there for A2. If I talk about ndim of A1, 100%, it is going to give me 1. Let us check. See, it is giving me 1 because A1 is a NumPy array which is declared and it is having 1 dimension. Let us hit enter. Right now, let us say I'm writing print A2 dot item size. When I say item size function, in this case, it is giving me the size of each element which is stored into an array. So there are 3 different things. One is item size. Let me just try. Another, print a2 dot size. Hit enter. Next, I'm writing print a2 dot n bytes. Or let me just work with A1 to explain exactly what is this outputs. A1 dot item size, A1 dot size, and A1 dot n bytes. Let us understand the difference between these 3 attributes. Can you please observe The A1 array is having total 3 elements. So can you see the size element or the size attribute is giving me 3. So size attribute gives us number of elements present in num array. Is having 3 elements. When I talk about item size, here the item size attribute represents the size allocated to each element of an array. This is what is the difference. हर एक element को कितनी size मिली है? अब मैंने A1 element A1 जो array declare किया है, in that A1 array I am having 4 elements, that is 3 elements 1, 2 and 3. But this 1 is of type integer and that's the reason I am getting the item size as 4. So then when I'm talking about item size, it gives me the individual element size. And when I'm talking about size, it gives us the number of element. It is the size is similar to your length function of your array, right? Still I can find some disturbance. Make yourself on mute. Right. Next. I'm saying I want to say find size of a1.n bytes. When we use n bytes, it is used to find total size used by an array. Right? When I say someone is on unmute.
Yes, all participants please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So when we talk about n bytes, it is giving me 12. So what does this mean? It means it is giving us total 12 bytes, right? It is giving us total 12 bytes because I was having 3 elements. 3 into 4 gives me 12 bytes, and that is your n bytes function. I hope you all have understood up to this point. Okay, now let me proceed ahead. If I'm writing, let us say A is equal to np dot arrange 3. Hope this works. Oh God, why it is not working? Arrange it. Initially it have given us error. Let's check. I'll just take it from here only. Maybe sometimes due to some spaces. Anyways, I have executed A, which is np dot array np dot arrange 5. Now, when I'm saying B is equal to, right? Let us say here I'm writing np dot arrange, right? Inside the bracket, I'm writing, let us say 9, and I'm writing dot reshape. Okay, and I'm saying 3, 3. Still it is shape. So if you observe, this reshape function is used because I want to shape my array in 3 by 3 dimension. Let us go over here into the slides. I'll take this. So when we talk about shape, it is basically the first attribute that we have seen. Next, shape is basically gives us or n 3 dimension, 2, 2 is basically 2 dimension. When I say ndim, it is basically used for getting the dimensions present in an array. When I'm talking about d-type is another attribute. If you go ahead by writing np.dtype, it will tell you the data type of array element. जैसे हमें data type numpy array का मिला था, type was nd array, so you can use ahead with dtype. So this is basically I wanted to explain this. You can say printing numpy arrays. Let us say I'm writing B. Hope this will work now. The code is same which I've typed. Let us check. Oh God. All right. Happens sometimes. Take. Let us say, if you see, I have used np.arrange function. And when I'm saying 9, it is basically going to give me a 9 element. But if I just write np.arrange, right? In this scenario, let me just try over here. I am writing a array, which is np.arrange 3. Okay, let us just try to print a. Maybe the spelling mistake was there in arrange. It is single R. So np.arrange is 3. So a is giving me 0, 1, 2, 3. By default, which dimension it is giving me? By default, it is creating array of 1 dimension. Now, when I say I want to create a NumPy array of 9 elements, then I can perform a reshaping. Reshape is one function which is used to shape my array in this particular dimension. I am explicitly telling to the compiler that I want 3-dimensional array with 3 elements in each. So it will give me 3-dimensional array. Is it my first dimension? This is my second dimension. This is my third dimension. Have you understood up to this point? 3 by 3. Right? Now, let me create one np array. I'm writing np.arrange. I'm giving, let us say, 8, and I'm saying 2, 2, 2. Hit enter. Let us print. Let us print C. Now, when I try to print C, in this case, I have got 2-dimensional arrays, right? So, when I pass 2 arguments within the reshape function, it is giving me a 3-dimensional array, 3 elements in each. But when I'm passing 3 elements or 3 arguments to the reshape function, what does this first 2 indicates? It indicates n dimension. What does this second indicates? It indicates 2 rows. And what does the third 2 indicates? 2 columns. So it is completely again based on the developer. Whenever the data is coming to me, how I want to arrange that data. Whether I want that data in 1-dimensional, so you can just create np.arrange, np.random and so on. But if you want to represent that data in different dimensions, then that is called as reshaping. So this was not possible, or if you have remembered, in case of normal C++ languages, either we have created 1-dimensional array or we have created 2-dimensional array. We cannot make a 1D array as a 2D array and so on and so forth. But here the Python is giving me to rearrange the elements of my array in different shapes. What does the shape indicate? Shape indicates the dimension part. So let us check. So this is basically when I want to print the NumPy arrays in different dimension and in different shapes. So I can use the function called as reshape function. This reshape function is used to represent your NumPy array in a different dimension by specifying either the dimension and number of elements in each dimension, or by mentioning the dimension, number of rows and number of columns. So this is about your NumPy arrays. So we have seen how you can create NumPy, how you can fetch the data in an array, how you can perform some attributes of NumPy array, how you can find dimension of a NumPy array, how you can reshape your NumPy array. So this is whenever we are working with data, your data may come in Excel, may come in CSV, may come in different formats. Your data can be available in dictionaries, list. Ultimately, I have to represent the data in the form of array, and for that we have NumPy arrays. All right. Let us quickly go through two pandas now. It is a pandas library. Pandas stands for panel data, and pandas is a Python package for data analysis. Again, this is the package which is a third-party package. So you need to install it. And this is open source. The Pandas library is basically providing high-performance data manipulation and analysis tools using its powerful data structures. The name Pandas is derived from the word panel data, right? It provides some data structures which simplify the manipulation and analysis of data sets. They provide the tools for data manipulation, maybe reshaping, merging, sorting, slicing, aggregation, and etc. Python with pandas is used in wide range of fields. The reason is when we talk about some data structures, right? When we have, you can say, why I'm using pandas, because it gives me direct data structures too, which are basically used for dealing with different formats of files, because your data will not come directly in the array format. It may come in CSV format, it may come in image format, it may come in Excel format or any other format, right? So I want to fetch the data. Now, whenever I'm trying to fetch the data, in that case, this data can be read through the pandas library. But when it is coming to whenever we are fetching the data, at that point of time, where do I store that data? I will store the data into some NumPy array only. So I can say the pandas library is based on ND array of NumPy, because data तो आ गया, fetch तो मुझे read करने के लिए functions जो देगा वो pandas library देगी, but when I fetch the data, after fetching it, where do I store? I need some kind of storage area, and that storage area is a NumPy. So your pandas and NumPy always go hand in hand. Next, when I'm talking about pandas library, you have some features like it is efficient. They have some in default and customized indexing. I will show you that how. There are different tools for loading the data into the memory. Data is aligned, integrated, and handled for missing data. This facility is provided by the pandas. For example, if you are talking about fetching some student data, where I have student ID, student name, student mobile, and student email, and suppose if the user have not entered the phone number, so that is called as missing data. How do I process it? Because whenever we are writing machine learning algorithms, whenever we are writing some deep learning algorithms, we need to give a proper data to the machine so that your machine can understand that data. And for that, we need one important step that is called as pre-processing of data. And when I'm saying pre-processing, it means I'm fine-tuning my data so that my machine can understand. So when I'm saying pre-processing of data, removing some missing data, removing some null objects, removing some empty spaces, and I am creating a clean and proper data in such a way that your machine can understand. And for that, we need some kind of mechanism for that. And you can do this with the help of pandas. So reshaping, pivoting, label-based slicing, indexing, many features are there, group by, and so on. So it is like I will go through few things today with the respect of pandas libraries, and then we will see again how to use this pandas libraries. So first we will see Some important data structures of pandas, right? Yesterday, overall Python के मैंने आपको data collection elements बताए थे. Sometimes they are also called as data structures of Python, maybe list, collection, and dictionary. But when I'm working with the data structures of pandas, data structure, you all must have been heard about the concept of what exactly a data structure is. But when I'm saying data structure of pandas, there are two important data structures. Let me just first explain that. First, when I'm saying data structures of pandas, the first is series. It is similar to your list. Now, your data may come in one dimension, may come in two dimensions, and so on. Second, your data may come in homogeneous data, that means a similar kind of data, or your data may come in the heterogeneous data. Right, heterogeneous means different data. एक ही array है जिसमें मेरे पास I have a name, I have mobile number, I have ID, I have email, I have salary, and so on and so forth. So this is called as heterogeneous data. But when I'm talking about homogeneous, I'm just saying I have only EMP ID, that is employee ID. Everything is of same type, that is homogeneous data. So that's the reason I have two different categories of data structures of pandas. The first is series. When I want to deal with homogeneous data, I'll go for series. Or in another way, if you have one-dimensional labeled array, then I have to create a series. Series will hold the data which is in the form of one dimension. And when I'm saying data frame is a dictionary of series. What is dictionary? Dictionary is always key value pair, right? And when I'm saying I want to work with two-dimensional array with heterogeneous data, right? That means I will declare or I will use the data structure called as data frame. Right, so understand the difference. These types of questions are asked normally when you go for any certifications exams or so on, right? So what is the basic difference? Why do we have these two data structures of pandas? Because I have a series and the data frame. Series because I have one dimensional array and homogeneous data. And when I'm talking about data frame, it is heterogeneous data, maybe multi-dimensional array, and that is called as, or that is basically the essential or the key elements of pandas. Right, how to create, how to access the data, that comes as the later part. Data frame कैसे बनाते हैं, data series कैसे बनाते हैं, everything I will let you know, but you must understand the difference, what exactly the difference between these two. Okay, now what we will do, we will first again go back to this Jupyter notebook, right? And here I will create few, let us say, heading as pandas. If you consider pandas NumPy, they are very vast topics, but as per the time constraints, we will go ahead with few basic things. The more you explore, the more you gain the knowledge. It's like that, right? So first, I will try to create a series in pandas. First statement, I have to write import pandas as PD, where PD is one alias name in which I've given to the pandas library. So that is the first statement. Second, I want to create a series. How do I create? I write S is equal to PD dot series. As I said, a series is a set of one-dimensional array. So I will write here. Make sure you give correct, you can say brackets. Then maybe you can write 20, maybe you can write 30, maybe you can write 40, and so on. So again, there is a mistake in bracket. and so on. So here series is S capital. Insert. Yes, S is capital. So again, Python is little, you can say, case sensitive. So you have to use series in capital, and you have to use data frame D and so on. I will come to that data frame part. Now we have created a pd.series. This will generate a series for me. But here, let us say I'm writing 10 ABC, 20, comma, PQR, comma, I'm writing 30 XYZ. Let us create 3 elements, right? When I try to create this, I am creating a series. Let us try to print this series. Can you see how it have taken? 0 is 10, 1 is ABC, 2 is 20, 3 is PQR, 4 is 30 and XYZ. So here automatically it is assigning some index elements or index values to this series, right? And I have mentioned one dimensional array, so I am using pd.series. I used one dimensional array. Because I am using 1D, so I will use S capital and series function. Now, let us say I want to give indexes. By default, it gives the index from 0. So index is given by default from 0. Let us say now I'm creating one more series where I'm writing S1 is equal to pd.series. Bracket में I'm giving, let us say 10, comma ABC, again comma 20, and let us say DEF. This is my series which I've created. But now I want to create index, और मुझे उसको खुद का index देना है, right? I will write index is equal to, inside the bracket, how many elements have passed? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just increase the font. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will give A, I'll give B, I'll give C, and I'll give D. Let us just try to print S1. Can you see this? Here, the indexing is not given in the form of zeros 1, 2, 3, but indexing is given as per the user's requirement, right? Now, sometimes you may ask, I want to convert or I want to add dictionary elements in Panda series. अब डिक्शनरी एलिमेंट्स क्या है? हमारे पास ऑलरेडी एक डिक्शनरी है. How do we declare dictionary? How do we define dictionary? If you remember, I've told whenever I'm working with dictionary, always I have to give curly brackets, because from this your compiler will understand that your interpreter will understand that this is a dictionary. Along with that, if you remember, we have seen dictionary is combination of key and value pairs. Let us say I'm writing India. This is my first key which is having value as 10. I'm writing second key USA which is having the key value is 20. The third key, let us say I'm writing Germany and I'm saying value is 30. And let us say fourth key, I'm writing some France and I'm giving 40. This is my dictionary which is created. पहले जब मैंने यहाँ पे series function लिखा था, here I have mentioned the list. Here I have mentioned the list. But now I am saying I want to convert, let us say cities is equal to pd dot series. Convert करना है, D को convert करना है. So I will pass it D. When I say I'm trying to print cities, In this case, it is giving me India is having the index 10, USA is having the index 20, Germany is having 30, France is having 40, data type is integer 64. That means every element is of type integer, or this data type of this is, you can say, integer. That's always it displays at the end. For example, suppose I have got one data which is having key and value pairs which is having key and value pairs. And if I'm saying if I have key and value pairs and I want to basically convert that in a tabular format, I want to represent those key and value pairs. How do I represent? I can represent by using the series. Let me just write here print. Can you see the difference now? If I only print a D dictionary, this is how it represent. But if I try to convert a dictionary into series, how it is representing? That is the reason we need pandas library. Right? That is the reason we need, and that's what I said. I am trying to fetch the data from somewhere, and pandas is trying to be my data structure for reprocessing of a data, because I cannot tell to the external you can say customer that these are the key and value pairs, please this is how you have to bear it. No, this is a correct representation of this key and value pairs. So I'm trying, if I just write D, this is how it is presenting me. But if I convert a dictionary into pandas, how it is representing? It is representing into a proper format. So I can do by writing a dictionary elements into the panda series. Right? Now, let us say I'm writing which name I've given cities. I'm saying cities of India, right? I want is equal to 100 now, right? And now we will just try to print. Can you see the value have been changed? So this is like modifying the value of any key inside. This we have seen in the last session also. This have been modified, changing the value of existing element which is available where, which is available in the dictionary. But मैंने change कैसे किया उसको? Pandas के cities series के through किया. Can you say? Everyone, I hope you are understanding. Here I have used a dictionary. I have changed the dictionary into panda series by having the name called as cities. Now cities is holding this much data, and I'm saying cities of India, make it as 100. So it is printing the cities for me. And that is called as modifying the value of any key inside the dictionary, but not with the help of dictionary key value pairs, but with the help of panda series. Right? Now, if I want to check whether this India is available in my this cities, answer is true. So if I want to search for any key inside this, I can search. Let us say print Delhi in cities. It is giving false. So you do not again have to go for loops and so on. जैसे हम normal English language लिखते हैं, whether India is in the cities, answer is yes, because it is available in the series of my pandas and it is giving me answer as true. But if I'm saying Delhi in cities, no. Yeah, I think there was some net issue. I think so. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. Is my screen still visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So it is basically when you talk about cities in Delhi, this particular field in cities, so it is giving me false. It is because it is not available inside your, you can say, cities panda series. Now, let us work with the data frame now. So this is what is about your series. I will write, okay, we will go ahead with data frame now. To go ahead with data frame, I've already imported pandas as PT. Let us say I'm creating one data where this particular data is in the form of dictionary, where I am defining, let us say, some students, giving some student names, maybe A, ST1, that is my student 1, maybe ST2, some ST3, comma, ST4, and let us say ST5. So this is my first student, you can say, column. Where? In the data frame. Why? Because when I'm saying I want to use a data frame, it is two-dimensional or more dimensions, right? Let us say I'm writing here, comma. After this, I'm writing that students maths ki marks. How many students have passed? 5. So I should pass 5 values. 80, 70, 76, 98, 58 and so on. Again, next, let us say I want to display science marks, right? Again, I have to pass few numbers, so on, comma. Let us say I want sports marks. So this is basically we are trying to give some sports, maybe basketball, right? Maybe some tennis, or maybe some cricket. Some parameters, right? And here I have created a dictionary. How I come to know it's a dictionary? Because I've given a key and I've given multiple values to it. And this is enclosed within this curly brackets. Now, here, when I say I have created a data, I want to represent. Suppose अब मैंने क्या किया? I'm just trying to print data. See the output. It is giving me student ST1, ST2, ST3 and so on. Math, science, this is not very proper visibility of data, and obviously even if I take this data for processing, how do I remove these double quotes? How do I remove these single quotes? How do I remove these square brackets? No, I don't. I don't want to process on these. I don't want to process on this colon, single quotes, double quotes and so on. I want a clean data. That means I want to convert this data into a proper format using the Panda series. How do I do that? I will say I'm generating one table data which is equal to pandas ka we have already created a alias name PD. There we used the concept of series with S capital. Here we will use the concept of data frame. And here I'll write data. As soon as I'm writing data, what it will do, it will try to convert your data in your data frame. Comma. Column names. So I will write columns. COLUMNS. Perfect. is equal to which columns you want. I want the column maybe student, that is my first field. Maybe the second column I want as maths and represent in the data frame format. I'm writing print table underscore data. Okay, what I'll do, I will put this into comments so that you can be able to visualize the output correctly. Just a second. Okay, Jupyter Notebook have these. Sometimes if the net is slow, so this Jupyter Notebook just gets stopped. So you need to go on checking every time that this Jupyter Notebook is working fine or not. All right, now it's working. How will I come to know it's working fine? Let's check it. I'll just refresh this page. Okay, we will do one thing. This is state 2. Okay. Yeah, we are back. All right. So how we will come to know whether Jupyter Notebook is running properly? यहाँ पे आपको Python का logo बराबर से दिखता रहेगा. So it means it is working fine. Sometimes you may receive over here kernel is stopped, something kernel is not working. So it means there is a issue at the backend part. ये command terminal को आपको कभी भी बंद नहीं करना है whenever you are working with Jupyter Notebook. Okay. And in between, if you press Control C over here, right? In that case, your terminal gets ended, and that's why your Jupyter Notebook gets ended. Okay, so let us just go ahead. Here we have created pandas, right? I need to run this. It is still executing. Just wait. Right. So okay, I'll just import pandas as PD. This was the series, right? And the last part was this. Can you see the output? Here we were having make sure यहाँ पे अगर जो आपने keys दिए है, all the keys should have the exact same name. The reason is whenever your interpreter will try to convert this data frame in the form of this data into the data frame, in that case you must mention the same column names which are represented as the key values. Otherwise, your interpreter will not understand what exactly this means. That means here I'm writing student, so here I have to write student in that form. S capital, S small will not work fine. So this is basically called as when I want to read the data. When I want to read the data and represent it in the data frame, this is how it is getting represented. Now, when I give this data For machine learning algorithm, obviously your machine will be able to understand this data in a more easier way. I can directly access the student data fields, math, science and sports, right? So this is called as a clean data, which I can use ahead for my data science or for my, you can say ML algorithms, right? So for pre-processing of data, your data can come in any format. Can you see this is coming in any format? Somewhere I may use here single quotes also, right? Somewhere I may use double quotes, somewhere I'm using numeric data. I want that data to be represented in a proper format, and that's why I'm using PD, right? Or that is pandas. Next, I have multidimensional data. I have to go for data frame. What does the data frame consist of? Data frame consists of two-dimensional or multidimensional data, and we can mention the columns which is defined within the data set. This is one example how we can go ahead with dictionary data. CSV stands for comma separated files, where I have mentioned, let us say, some column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and so on. Now what I want, can I say this is also some kind of data which is available? Yes. I want to perform read of these files. Now yesterday I have given you few examples of reading the data from the file, but now I want to go ahead with pandas, right? It is just a one line code for reading the data from the CSV, right? That's why we say Python is easy. pd dot read underscore CSV. What is my file name? It is T capital F capital. So I will say test underscore file dot CSV. Can you see that directly data is fetched from the CSV file? Is it easy? Yes, of course. I do not have to check whether the file is available or not. If it is not available, it will just give you an error. File is not found. So I do not have to create any file pointer object. I do not have to check for the conditions like end of the file and so on and so forth. Just read underscore CSV, one function which is available in the pandas library. It is giving me test file.c. That is the complete file which is present, right? Now I have read the data correctly, right? I had 4 columns, and those 4 columns are displayed in a proper format. Now I want this column names to be given to these columns. How many columns I have? 4 columns. How do I write that? I will take this pd dot read underscore CSV. I will say test file dot CSV, comma, here I'll write names is equal to, inside the bracket, the first column name I want roll number. The second column name I want names. The third column name I want maybe marks. Fourth column name I want. Can you see now that roll number, first column name is given as roll number, second column name is given as names, the third column name is given as marks, and fourth column name is department. Right? Now, listen. So only fetching 3 columns, roll number, name and marks. Now, also, if you observe, let us take from the first line. First time when I have read from CSV, in that case, it have given me column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Second time when I have tried to read from CSV, at that point I have given the names to those columns, that is roll number, those names are displayed, but this column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4 is still getting displayed. I do not want this. Similarly, even though I have tried to fetch a few, you can say, column names, but then also it is giving me this column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. I do not want this. Then what? Then I will take this. This is called as attributes, right? We are trying to add some of the arguments within the read CSV or function arguments जिसको हम बोलते हैं, right? If I pass header is equal to 0 and hit enter, can you see here the data is fetched properly? And data, if I'm passing header is equal to 0, then it is not displaying this particular thing, column 1, column 2, column 3 and column 4, right? This is first. This is basically three columns I'm reading, and header 0 will remove this header row from your data in displaying, right? Now let's proceed. If I write maybe pd dot read underscore csv, the same file I'm reading, that is test underscore file dot csv. So this will read the file. I'm saying names is equal to, names will tell us the column names, right? I want roll number, right? And I want, first is roll number, and maybe I want names. Okay, this is names. That means the first column name is roll number, second column name is names. I'll say header is equal to 0. So it will not display column 1, column 2 and so on. Now I'm saying use columns, use calls. This use calls function is used when I want to fetch some specific columns. How many column names I've given? Roll number and name. Which column I want to fetch? 0 and 1, right? Let us execute. Can you see? It is fetching only 2 columns for me. So it is how this is working. If I just try read underscore CSV, it will read the data and it will try to fetch the data in the column format. But when I'm saying in the column format, it gives me some column 0, column 1, column 2. To remove that, I have used header is equal to 0. If I want to fetch few columns, I can just give column names and it will fetch it for me. But if I want some specific column numbers, you can use the use calls function. It will try to use those column numbers and fetch the data for me, right? And that is called as pd.readcsv. Okay, I hope you all are trying at your end. Just create one CSV and try. If you have any queries, you can just post it. Okay, so this is about reading the data. Let us say I want to write into CSV. Next task. Okay, so how do I write? I will first read the data and then I will write the data. How do I read the data? By using read CSV. Let us say I'm creating some new data frame which is equal to pd.read underscore CSV bracket में test underscore file dot CSV. This is my test file which I want to read, where I have names is equal to, that is column names, that is roll underscore number, that is second I want to give names, and third column name, that is column heading, I want to give as marks, comma, I'll say header is equal to 0. This will read the data for me. Now when I say read, let us just try to print new data frame. It is reading the contents for me. Now I want to write to another file. How do we write? I will say new data frame dot underscore CSV. This will create, if the file is already existing, let us say I'm writing destination underscore file dot CSV. So when I say destination file dot CSV, this will try to create this file, and जो भी मेरे data frame में आया है उसको it will try to put inside destination file. Let us hit the enter. After hitting the enter, if you observe here, destination file is created. Do I have the same contents in the destination file? Yes, I have. If the file is present, then it will overwrite that. If the file is not present, it will create that file and just try to, or you can say, put the contents into the destination. So this is called as CSV into data frame of pandas, and then copying the contents into another CSV. Which function we have used for reading? For reading, we have used read CSV, or not read CSV, it is read underscore CSV. A small mistake will throw an error. And when I say write, in that case, I have to use to underscore CSV. These are the two important functions, to read the data and to write the data. Now the question is, can we have Excel reading and Excel writing? Yes, answer is same. You have read underscore Excel to underscore Excel. So it is like the more you explore on these topics, the more you get. Okay. So tail will display last 3 records. Next, if I'm writing new data frame dot head, just head, it will try to represent first 5 top rows. If I say new data frame dot tail, that's it. It will display last 5 rows. So the head, tail, and inside the bracket, tail and some value will try to fetch some specific rows from the data frame. And this is used when I want to check some data and I want to fetch only few number of rows from the data frame. Then I will go with head and tail functions of this, right? So this is like fetching the data using the head and tail function. Last 5 records, first 5 records, and so on. Now, let us see as department. Right. So we will take the same line of code to read this file. I'm trying to explain you. I want to group some data. So let us see. I'm writing this in variable 1. Variable 1 is equal to pd.readsv. I have test file. I'm trying to read roll number, names, marks, and department. Let me just mention header is equal to 0. If I say int var1, this is going to give me the data in the form of proper, it will read the data, it will give me the data in the form of CSV. But what I want to group some of the data. Maybe I'm writing group value is equal to variable1 dot group by. I hope you must have heard about something called as database and something called as SQL database. In SQL databases or any other databases, SQL queries we used to use this keyword group by, and here I'm writing group by department, right? And now I'm trying to say maybe group values dot count. Let us say मैं उसका count display करती हूँ. Just writing print. Okay. Here, can you see it is giving me com is equal to 5, IT is equal to 3. Why it is giving me this count? Because if you go to our CSV file, one, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 data is from com and IT, IT and IT. That is 3 data is of IT. But why it is giving me the output as 555333? Because when I use the count variable, it gives me count with respect to each column. That means here there is a com, that means इस particular data में roll number 1, roll number 3, roll number 4, roll number 7, roll number 8. 5 students का जो data है that is of com. How about names? 5 occurrences are there of com. 5 occurrences are there for marks. Suppose I am using printf group values dot count जगह पे मैं लिखती हूँ size. Okay, just put some statement size. So to give you some segregation, or I'll put one /n in between. Okay, can you see the size now? Size ka output it have given me. Com have been occurred 5 times. IT have been occurred 3 times. So this is called as, basically when I'm working with pandas, these are the different you can say group by, and you can use different components with respect to pandas. Similarly, you also can use different group by functions. You can use aggregate function, you can use min function, max function and so on. So it is just one simple function that I've shown today. So you can explore more on different functions which are available whenever we are working with PD series, right? So we have seen what is series, we have seen what is data frame. Data frame, how to create. Why do we create data frame? Because we have 2-dimensional array. So when I'm saying creating a data frame, we can create empty data frame by just using data frame. We can create a data frame using list. I can create a data frame by passing 1, 2, 3, 4 and we can print this. We can create a data frame by passing different number of 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional data. It will automatically convert into rows and columns data. And we can also create a data frame using the dictionary, and that is nothing but using this curly brackets. That is called as creating a data frame. How do we read the data using pandas? I have shown first example from read CSV and to CSV. There are different number of data sets available, right? Like read Excel, read Stata, read you have SAS, you have HDF, that is Hadoop file system, SAS file system and so on. तो वहाँ से अगर data fetch करना है, it is only one line of code. So the data set that you have, that can be read through read underscore that particular data set function. So this is how we can read the data using pandas. If you want to more explore data frames and its list, so we have head, we have D types, we have you can say कोई भी specific column का data type चाहिए तो you can just fetch it using D type, right? Head, tail function, and if you pass tail and inside the bracket number, it will give you those many last number of rows. How do we use group by? I've just given one example of group by. You can use all the you can say functions, and you can go ahead with the different aggregation functions, right? So from this particular session, I just wanted you to all to understand how exactly a NumPy library is, what are the things which are there in NumPy, what do you mean by pandas library, and how you can fetch the data in pandas, right? So in tomorrow's session, we will see if I have any list or if I have any one-dimensional, two-dimensional array, then how do we represent that in the form of graphs, and that is called as data visualization. So tomorrow I will be covering what is data visualization, and that is matplotlib. So before coming for the tomorrow's session, I request everyone, make sure you please pip install matplotlib. That is the third library that we are going to see tomorrow. Also, I will show you some ML related applications, like how you can go ahead, what is data science, and what are the different algorithms in ML, and how you can proceed ahead, in which field you can go ahead with data when you are talking about data science. So all these points I will be covering tomorrow. So this is from my side. Vishakha ma'am, are you there?
Yes. So, participants, if any question. Yeah, hello, ma'am.
I'll just stop sharing my screen. Yes, you are audible.
So, all participants, if you have any query, you can post your questions in chat.
You can create NumPy maybe by using array function. You have np.array, you have np.zeros, you have np.ones. So this particular library is having all the functions which are available within that library. You can have random, you have rand.int, and so on. So you can perform some copy operation. Then you have some specific attributes like shape attribute, and you have n dimension, you have size, you have length, you have item size. So it is like these all are the predefined functionalities which are there in NumPy, and only the thing is you have to install first NumPy, and then you have to import that NumPy library by using import NumPy as np. Okay, item size and n bytes. There is a difference by Shrikant. Right? I will, so it will give you 4 as a one element size. That is called as item size. When you talk about size of the element, it represents the number of elements in an array. So if I'm creating a NumPy array, let us say 10, 20, 30. So it will give me 3 as the output. So size gives us the number of elements available within that list, or you can say array. And when I'm talking about n bytes, n stands for total number of bytes which are given to your NumPy array. So if I'm passing again L1 is equal to 10, 20, 30, in that case 444 will be given to each element. That will be 12 bytes. So that is what is the difference between your Shrikant item size and n bytes. Yes, Viraj homogeneous है, but you can have a data of different types. For example, if you talk about but the necessary, when you are talking about series, Viraj, you may have any combination of elements, but the thing is it should be one dimension. Okay, I hope Viraj it's clear. How can we iterate pandas? Soumya, iteration within the pandas is automatically done by your interpreter. You do not have to go ahead through pandas. If you want to go ahead with pandas iteration, then you can just use pandas and array combination. Like pandas and numpy का combination जैसे आप indexing array में use करते हो, वैसे you can go ahead. Yes, Shubham, yes, we can visualize the data in the form of graph or charts. And you can, if you attend the session tomorrow, then in that tomorrow's session, I will be covering if I have any, let us say one X array and one Y array. And if I want to represent in the two-dimensional graph, if I want to create a graph, subgraph, a pie chart, a bar chart, everything that I will be covering in tomorrow's session. Okay, Shubham? So Soumya, I hope I have addressed your answer, how you can iterate in the pandas. It is just similar the way we used to do by giving some indexes. Okay.
Yes, students, if you have any more questions, please ask. You can post it into the group. Don't unmute yourself. Yes, ma'am, there is one question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
can you
Telegram.
explain group by function?
Group by function. Now, if you observe Ayush, in case of group by, let me, if you have seen the department column, the department was having combination, maybe comp, IT, ENTC, and so on. When I say I want to group by, that means I want all the records of computer department in one, you can say in one slot or in one batch. So I will use the functionality called as group by. So group by will basically group the data based on the column. So if I say group by department, so all the comp data will be put at one you can say batch, then IT data will be put into another batch and so on. So that is the use of group by function. So grouping of some column data for more analysis or for performing some data operations, then you can go ahead with group by function. Okay, Ayush? All right. That's what I've said, Aditya. A group by function is to use to group some elements. If you have a department in which you have roll number one or ID number one who is from com department, ID number two who is from IT department, ID number three who is from ENT's department, ID number four is again on com department, ID 5 is on IT department. So if I want to combine those fields, maybe comp and IT and so on, in those cases I will use group by function. So group by से क्या होगा? Your computer data will come in a group. Your other IT data will come in another group. So every data will be grouped together for performing further operations. Maybe you just want to print on only com data. So I can just fetch that data of com in one data frame and I can print that data. Okay. I hope Aditya and Ayush, it's now clear to you all. Okay. So
If someone is typing something, let's wait for it. Otherwise, we'll continue.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, students, any more questions?
So still, if they have any questions, they can post. I can reply later stage also.
Yes.
No issues.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. No issue. So if anybody is having any question, you can post it with me also. Madam will be in the group and answering the question.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, madam. Thank you for
Yes, ma'am.
your very nice session that
Hope
was
it
conducted
was
by you
helpful.
yesterday
Yes,
and
ma'am.
today. Yeah, and it was very well planned and demonstrated, and many new things were explored today related to how we can use different Python libraries.
Yeah.
So thank you once again for the wonderful session.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
all participants are reminded to submit the session quiz, which will be posted in the group of Telegram. And the feedback form is just shared by Pallavi madam. So you have all have to fill the feedback form, because quiz submission and feedback form submission is important in order to mark your attendance and in order to get the certificate of this workshop. So with this, I declare that today's session is over. Thank
Yes,
you all
ma'am.
the participants. Thank you, Akshita madam.
Thank you, ma'am,
Stay
and
safe
thank
and
you all. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, ma'am. Bye bye.
yeah.
Shall I leave the
Stay safe
meeting,
and
ma'am?
keep learning.
Take care. Everyone, take
Yes,
care. Bye bye.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Akshita ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all the participants. Thank you.